So here's the counterpoint to my last video. If you like this video, please like and subscribe and leave a comment. Go on geezers, go on. Here are my top 11 reasons. Have you done it yet? Have you liked and subscribed? Go on. Alright, nice one. Here are, in no particular order, 11 reasons why FSG should stay. Number 11. We have won every available trophy. When FSG took over in 2010, I just wanted us to be a Champions League club again. I couldn't imagine we'd win the Champions League, the European Super Cup, the FA Cup, the League Cup, the Community Shield, yes it's a real trophy, the Club World Cup, and we ended our 30-year league title dry spell. I mean, it's not the drought that I'd have chose to end first, 7 years, but still, it's pretty good. All of this happened under FSG, and you've got to give them some credit for that. They must be doing a few things right. Number 10. They hired the right people. Since FSG has taken over, by and large, their appointments have been first class. Perhaps the most important one is the manager, and they've smashed it. They started out by hiring the ledge Kenny Dalglish, and he won us the League Cup and got us to an FA Cup final, and he brought some of the feel-good factor back. I think that's quite successful. Then they took a chance. They appointed a promising, relatively up-and-coming manager, Brendan Rodgers. And it almost worked, almost won the title. Didn't quite work out at the end, but still, you can see FSG's thinking, I think that was a good appointment. And then they fucking smashed it. They got in Jurgen Klopp, and we all know what happened. Also, FSG knew that they had other franchises to run beside Liverpool. A load of sports that Americans play that no one really cares about, but they're Americans, so they take them seriously. So they decided to let FSG stakeholder Mike Gordon be the conduit between the rest of the FSG board and Liverpool. So Mike Gordon could dedicate his time to making sure that the club was run right. And I think it worked out alright. They promoted the master of the stats, Mike Edwards, to sporting director. Mike Edwards was helped by Chief Scout Barry Hunter and Head of Recruitment Dave Fallows. FSG also hired great negotiators like Y.N.W.A, so Liverpool weren't just the best at buying players, we were also the best at selling them. 142 million for Coutinho? Yeah, we'll have that. FSG also appointed Liverpool's first fan liaison officer, helping to strengthen the connection between the team and the fans. We even got Manchester United's commercial director Matt Scamell in 2020, and despite literally having scam in his name, we are now ahead of Manchester United in the Deloitte Money League for the first time ever. All of this is to say, FSG have consistently made great appointments, and they might have got a few of them wrong recently, but I'm confident that this is the exception and not the rule, and they'll continue to make great appointments in the future. Number 9. Klopp has a good relationship with them. I'm sure we can all agree, our most valuable signing is Jurgen Klopp. If there's anyone we can't afford to lose, it's him. Whatever we need to do to keep him, we should do. You want a statue of yourself? We were going to make one anyway. You want a parking space? Give him a whole car park. You want to invade Legoland? Go on, son. High press the shit out of them plastic fuckers. He and the owners have got on well from day one. And Klopp has said that he doesn't only get on well with them professionally, but also personally too. So, if keeping them is what we need to do to keep Klopp, I say FSG in. Number 8. We didn't break any financial regulations. Yes, have it. Number 7. They've built new stands and a new training ground. Before FSG took over, Anfield was around 42,000 seats. Our training ground was also about 70 years old. Now our stadium's capacity will be over 60,000 after our new Anfield Road stand is built. We also have a new state-of-the-art training ground. And look at it, it's beautiful. If we had this training ground back in the day, maybe Balotelli wouldn't have skipped training. FSG, they've done some good stuff. Number 6. New commercial opportunities. Now FSG aren't a group of football coaches, they're businessmen. So as much as we can only give them a limited amount of credit for things that happen on the field, we've also got to give them a lot of credit for what they've been doing in business. And they've been crushing the business. Liverpool are now third in the Deloitte Money League. So whatever happens, we've got some kind of top 4 this season. Under FSG, we've also signed a record deal with kit manufacturer Nike. Under this deal with Nike, we've taken a lesser fee than we would have got for New Balance, but we secured 20% of the cut from the merchandise. So it means we're expected to make over 100 million from this deal. Add to this our improved sponsorship deal with Standard Charter and the increased revenue from our soon to be over 60,000 seater stadium and the money that's going to come in from whatever shit we decide to flog to Bournemouth next, our revenue will keep going up. And I think FSG deserve a lot of credit by doing all of this without actually using credit. Number 5. I don't want our club to be owned by dodgy bastards. We may not be able to financially compete with Manchester City or PSG or now even Newcastle, fuck's sake. But I tell you what, none of those clubs can buy. The moral higher ground. Our midfield might be a state, but at least we're not owned by a nation state. Our country's president doesn't own our club. Amnesty International has never had a go at our owners. We were never funded by a secret society. Our owners have never been linked to the killing of any journalists. Our success wasn't launched off the back of a dictator. And we never signed Ched Evans. Also, none of our sponsors are state-owned businesses. Football's got a problem with sports washing. Not all of football, mate, just them dodgy bastards. Our team might have a weak midfield core, but we've got a strong moral core. We may not have many clean sheets recently, but we've got clean consciences. We may not be firing up front, but we're not owned by a load of evil. Number 4. FSG have spent quite a bit on transfers. Now it can be hard to look at other clubs like Chelsea, Arsenal, Tottenham, City, even fucking Newcastle. It can be hard to look at all of them spending loads of money and go, why can't we do that? But let's not forget, this season we have already spent over 100 million. We've got Darwin Núñez in, we've got Cody Gakpo in, and eventually they'll come good. Also, since FSG took over, we have a net spend on transfers of 618 million, which isn't nothing. I mean, it is still the second lowest in the top 6, but still, forget that. Number 3, made the club self-sustaining. On that note, we haven't done what clubs like Barcelona have done, spent beyond our means, leading us to selling parts of our TV rights, production company, stadium naming rights and kit sponsorship for significantly lower than market value. We haven't spent money on any old fucker like Manchester United or Chelsea have over the last few years, and having players leave us for a fraction of what they signed for. Also, unlike Manchester United, the owners don't take money out of the club to pay their debts, like some of our previous owners have done. FSG have managed to maintain success on the pitch, well, until recently, while still expanding the stadium and building a new training ground, and not leveraging the future of the club on it. Number 2, law of averages. No matter what great team there's been in history, they've all had off seasons. Man United didn't win anything in the 04-05 season. Pep didn't win the title every year at Barcelona. Every team has a bad season now and again. Usually, great teams' dominant runs don't last uncontested for more than a few seasons. There's always a bit of a drop-off, unless you play in a farmers league or were backed by a dictator. Furthermore, we are coming off a 63-game season without a proper pre-season and playing in a truncated league campaign with a World Cup wedged halfway through it. Also, some of our best players were injured. So I wouldn't panic, and we are still in the process of transitioning our squad into a younger team. I wouldn't panic over having an off season. Next season will be fine. As the Foo Fighters say, nothing could ever be this good forever, but it will be this good again. Also, have we ruled out the fact that Klopp wants to compete the trophy set and qualify for either the Conference League or Europa League? So, could that be what's happening? Number 1. It's been a lot worse before. Now FSG aren't perfect. I share a lot of the frustration towards them that other fans do, but let's not forget who owned us before FSG came in. When Hicks and Gillette took over, they said they'd respect the tradition of the club, invest in the squad, build a new stadium. They said they're not like the Glazers. Well, months after they took over the club, like the Glazers did to United, they riddled us with debt. They sold our best players, they drove out our Champions League winning manager, players we brought were brought with borrowed money, and we were mostly shit. The new stadium they promised us has not been built, which is a good thing in the end, but still, Hicks and Gillette said that they respected the history of the club and they almost made the club history. In contrast, life under FSG has not been that bad. It could of course be better, but still, it could be, and it has been, a lot worse. So there you go, there are my top 11 reasons for FSG to stay in.